Sometimes we want to simplify a fractional expression, and just like before, we are going to restrict our discussion of this technique to when we have a fraction that has no addition or subtraction in the numerator or denominator. Remember that addition and exponents are not friends. If we have addition or subtraction in the numerator or denominator, we need to use some more sophisticated techniques. But we can simplify expressions that look like this. Let's say we want to simplify something like this big hairy expression. Here's what we're going to do. First, we will simplify the numerator and denominator separately. So in our numerator, we have 3x squared times 2x to the negative 2 times 4z to the negative 1 to the third. We will use our power of a product rule to get rid of all of these parentheses, and then we'll use the power of a power rule to work this part out, noting negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Now we'll use the commutative property to put all the numbers together, all the x's together, and all the z's together. We'll work out the arithmetic of the numbers. We can use a calculator for this if we'd like. We'll have 3 times 2 to the negative 2 times 4 to the third, which is 48, x to the 2 plus negative 2, z to the negative 3, which is 48, x to the 0, z to the negative 3. X to the 0 is just 1, so this is just 48 z to the negative 3. Next, taking up the denominator, we have 2xz to the negative third times xy squared, using the power of a product rule, 2 to the negative 3, x to the negative 3, z to the negative 3, x squared, y squared. 2 to the negative 3, writing that as a fraction, is 1/8. Writing the x's next to each other, and then the y's, and then the z's. We'll have 1/8 x to the negative 3 plus 2, y squared, z to the negative 3, 1/8 x to the negative 1, y squared, z to the negative 3. Okay, now that we've simplified the numerator and denominator separately, we're going to put them back into a fraction. And then we split each variable into its own fraction. Notice there's no x or y in the numerator. So in the numerator we just have an x to the 0, which is 1, and a y to the 0, which is also 1. My quotient of powers rule, and I'm just going to do division to my number part. So for the numbers, I've got 48 divided by 1/8, which is 384. For my x's, I have x to the 0 minus negative 1. For my y's, I have y to the 0 minus 2. And for my z's, I have z to the negative 3 minus negative 3. So 384, 0 minus negative 1 is 1, 0 minus 2 is negative 2, negative 3 minus negative 3 is 0. Z to the 0 is just 1, so I have 384, x to the first, y to the negative 2. Now this is okay. This will give us an expression with only negative exponents. But if we want positive exponents in the denominator instead, well, 384 over 1. That doesn't have an exponent. X to the 1 is just x. Y to the negative 2 is 1 over y squared. So this is going to be 384x over y squared, ignoring all the multiplying by 1. Now, you may have noticed that this was a little bit tedious. There are some shortcuts we could take here, and as you become more comfortable with the arithmetic of exponents, you'll start to see those shortcuts, and once you start to see them, you can start to take them. If you find that you ever get lost, working slowly and methodically in this way will always get you your expression simplified correctly.